Hello, this is RV Vagabond Jerry, and today I'm at Dinosaur National Monument, which is near the eastern border of Utah, a ways out east of the city of Vernal, just north of the town of Jensen. I'm going to do some camping here and show you a lot of the sights that they have. It's not just about dinosaurs, it's a lot about the scenery and the Green River and the Yampa River that comes through the park here. So come join me and I'll show you around. The visitor center has this relief map of the park, and this is where I am at the visitor center. So the road goes here, and this is a small campground, and this campground has 80 sites. Some are reserved and some are first come, first serve. The Green River comes on flat land there and then comes through this split mountain canyon, they call it, and then goes further south here. This is the Utah-Colorado border that goes pretty much through the middle of the park. This is another entrance road that is in Colorado that goes up to the top of the mountains there. And from there you can see this canyon. It's a pretty deep, kind of narrow canyon. It's called the Canyon of Lindor, and goes up to what they call the Gates of Lindor. And here is where the Green River splits off into the Yampa River, which goes pretty much easterly through Colorado. Here they have a tailbone of a dinosaur in the visitor center. They do have this shuttle that you can take around the park. But the park is not just about dinosaurs. It has some really beautiful views of the mountains and canyons. Many hiking trails that you can explore. Some good views even around the parking lot at the visitor center. And there's a dinosaur. Right beside the road here is a thing they call the Swelter Shelter Petroglyph site, which is right there, right about in the middle of this huge stack of boulders. Here's some info on it and a drawing of it. Let's go take a close-up look, which is what in the modern days we call graffiti. They just changed the name. Some more over here. Kind of looks like a drawing of some kind of aliens from outer space. And it is a bit of a shelter, the way it's kind of carved. Naturally carved. You crawl under there and you can stay dry when it rains, I guess. It is a bit of a shelter, certainly from the afternoon evening sun. Give you some shade. Now the other side, way off in the distance here, it looks like farmland over there. Mountains are far off, so here the mountains are pretty much just on the west side. You can see some of the river there, so that would be good for the farmers. And this is in an area where there are no trees for shade. There certainly is in the campground. This is another building called the Quarry Exhibit Hall, where they have here a lot of the dinosaur tracks. And here's a skeleton of an Allosaurus. I'm not one that's really big on dinosaurs, but I do have a theory on why they all died off. I think the Earth did get hit by some big meteors or whatever it was, which caused the sun to be blocked off. So they had a long period where there was very little sunshine coming in, and it was also, I think more importantly, they had a couple years or so when there was a drought and grass wasn't growing, nothing was growing, none of the plants. Here's a bone bench. So basically the dinosaurs just starved to death. They just starved to death from not getting enough food because of the drought. Most of them were plant eaters, and they just couldn't get their plants to eat, so they just died off from starvation. And with bodies that big, it would take a heck of a lot of food to keep them alive. Here's a head that got embedded in mud. I guess it is. You can see all the teeth. Look at that. Here's another head. And this is a really excellent sample here. I think they must have put some parts together to make it look this good. But this is pretty amazing. This in particular looks like a bone that was found and they just attached it where it's supposed to go. And that head looks so realistic. Here's a big femur from one of the big dinos. Now you can see outside that this is the side of like a canyon, and you can see a big dinosaur bone section up there. I don't know if this is just the way it was and they built the building around it just the way it naturally was, or if it was flat and they placed it like it is. I'm not sure. Well, I asked the curator, and he said this all was originally flat, which makes sense. And he said then when the mountains pushed themselves up, that's what pushed this flat land in such an angle, almost a vertical angle as it is, as the mountains formed. You can see some of the bones there. And there's some bones. And there's a bunch of bones. And over here is a whole lot of them. So it certainly is all very real. This is on an upper floor, so you can get a closer look at the tops. This is a good question. Since in the winter, this is some very, very cold country. Makes me wonder why the dinosaurs would hang around this part of the country. Here's a drawing of a few of the dinosaurs left, and here's some that have died, and they probably just got caught in the muck and couldn't get out. That's what it looks like. That's what happened to a lot of them. The mud was so deep and slippery, they just couldn't get out, so they just died right there. Here's a few models of them. There's the quarry building I was just in. And here's some really good views right across from it. I can see a guy down here walking, just like he was taking a picture. Boy, he is really dressed up. This is a hot day. It's like 90 degrees. I don't think I'd want to dress that much. But look at the scenery around here. This is really nice. Then off to the right is the river and the farmland beyond it. You can see the river back there as far as you can see it. Curves around to the left. Big curve there, and then goes down south, and then it's blocked off by these rocks here. And look at this, there's a hole up there. Some really nice rock scenery around here. I think it's really interesting the way all this is shaped. So many pieces and sections and layers. Doesn't that look kind of amazing? And it's late in the day, as you can see by the shadows there. This is where the trail starts, where that man was going down. There are numerous trails all around in this park. Here's another section further down the road. And one thing that kind of gets your attention here is the tops of the rock. See those pieces and the way it's shaped? And look at this. This is the feature that really gets your attention. Just standing up there, that monolith. How do you like that? Look how the color changes in the rock here. This is right beside the road going down to one of the campgrounds. And across the road is this big thing. There are two campgrounds here. This is the smaller one, and I think it's mostly a group campground. It's not the campground that I'm in. I'll show you that later. But what's really nice about this one is the view of the river. So the campground is right along near the shores, the banks of the river. And above the river, look at this. How's that for a nice background to a campground? And look at the color striping here. That is really pretty. Especially right here, you can see the stripes in the rock. I think a lot of these people are here because they're on a boating or a rafting trip. They leave their cars parked here, and you see a lot of empty trailers. Now this is the campground that I'm in, which is called the Green River Campground. It's a really big one with 80 sites among these cottonwood trees right along the banks of the Green River. It's a really long campground, goes way back into there. It's a good shot of the river. Now you see this ranch on the other side of the river there. Looks like it's a pretty big operation. This info board here tells about it. You zoom in and you get a good view if you want to read this Just pause the video. I want to see if there's a place where you can get down to the river and swim in it. It would be really nice on a hot day like this. Now look at this farmland off to the right of the ranch. Lush green. That's nice. They got one of those big watering machines. I don't know how much rain they get here. I wonder what they could be growing other than it just looks like nothing but grass. What could that be that they're growing there? They have this self-registration thing at the entrance to the campground. There's envelopes in there that you get, fill out the info, and then put your payment, cash or check, into the slot there. It's $18 a day, but if you have the senior or disabled National Park Pass, then it's $9. The campground for me is just a place to park. The only facilities is a barbecue pit and a picnic table, neither of which do I have any use for. But there is a lot of shade here for tent campers. It's really nice. These are mostly cottonwood trees, by the way, which is the most annoying tree when it gets the cotton flowing. Okay folks, check out this solid rock wall. Wow, that is amazing. It is just a vertical, totally vertical rock wall. And just below it is what they call the Green River. Now, if you saw my last video from Flaming Gorge National Recreation Area, you'll notice that the river is a nice, cleanly looking green color. I guess that's why they call it the Green River. It was very green looking. But this is just a dirty, muddy brown color. So I wonder what happened to the water between Flaming Gorge and here, which is not that far. It must have gone through some real serious deep muck to obtain all that dirt and grime and whatever it is that's turned the river from green to brown. Here's a shot from the middle of a bridge across the river. Now on this side it looks a lot different. And look how wide it is. This is a very wide river, especially here. And then way off in the distance you see another rock wall, but it's very jagged on that side. Now I suppose this sign is talking about that rock formation right there, but I'm not seeing that. Looks like a turtle. Do you see a turtle image somewhere there? Well, I guess if you really stretch your imagination, you could see that as a turtle's head. But that takes quite a stretch, I think. Now this shot, I think they're calling this up here petrified sand dunes. Right here. I've seen this before where sand dunes over millions of years just turn into solid rock. Looks like it's a little bit fresh on the top there. But yeah, that's what that is, petrified sand dunes. So I've been on this road that goes north from the campgrounds, which is paved for a long way, and then it turns into this kind of rough gravel road. And then at some point further on down, the road ends, and from there on it's just hiking trails. There's some good shots here, so this is as far as I'm going to go. The video is kind of running a little long, I think. This is an interesting rock formation, especially those three pieces there. That's interesting. How did that happen? Well, folks, I hope you've enjoyed the video. Please let me know in the comments below. And if you're anywhere near Vernal, Utah, or the northwest corner of Colorado, definitely stop here. The only problem is it's hot in the summer and the campgrounds have no hookups. And last night I found out that they don't allow generator use after 9 p.m. And when I went to bed, my bedroom was 82 degrees. And I like it more like 67 degrees. So that was a little rough on me. So I'm not going to stay another night. I'm just going to take off. Well, hope you've enjoyed it. Let me know. Good day, folks.